I'm here today with Leena.
Hello.
Fellow booktuber and publishing enthusiast.
That's me.
And publishing employee.
Ever enthused.
This is a video we actually wanted to film, and I think actually filmed quite a while ago, and it never really happened, so we're gonna do it again properly this time. It's basically demystifying a part of publishing that is the phrases that people use in publishing.
The gobbledygook.
Did you have any experience when you started where you were just like, what is this?
Yeah, definitely, but I was a very impertinent intern, so within the first week I knew them all, because I was like, I'm going to stop you there, what does that mean?
What is that?
Interesting, I'm just going to write that down, brilliant, carry on.
Because a lot of it, when you hear it in a meeting, you're not even sure what words they said, so you can't go and Google it.
But what I did in meetings was, like, when I was in a meeting as an intern, I noted down all the words that I didn't know, and then I'd go to a person afterwards, which not that many interns do to me, and I'm like, guys, could you...
Yeah.
So do that if you're interning.
There's a lot of words that they don't use outside of publishing. You pick them up throughout the years, and we thought we'd share them, but I've done it as a little quiz, so they're in this mug.
Well, I don't know one. This is making me sweat.
I mean, it won't be the official definition, but it'll be what we...
A working definition.
Understand it is. You can play along at home, and I'm going to let you do the first one.
Ooh, do I get a prize at the end?
No, there's no prize.
Is there a sweet at the bottom?
The prize is knowledge.
My favourite prize. Oh, okay, a mock-up.
So we use mock-ups a lot in social media, and I think it could also mean maybe slightly different things, but in my head what it means is you basically take another book and then you print out the full cover of the book that you want it to be, and you just put it around there and make it look like it's the finished copy when it hasn't arrived from the printers, but you do have the full cover and you kind of need to pretend like it exists.
So there's always like editors roaming my shelves being like, do you have like a B format hardback? It's about 300 pages that could convincingly be this book.
When like YouTubers or authors sometimes show their book on camera, it's probably not the real book inside.
Yeah, if it's more than like 3 or 4 months for publication, it's probably not the book.
And I've seen some very good mock-ups, and I've seen some very bad mock-ups where I've had to go, I can't take a picture
you printed
of this.
that out on your like HP printer.
But there's been one where like I think one of the designers or one of the like production people went all out, and it was like the most beautifully like taped together thing I've ever seen. Next, AI and TI.
Okay.
I know what it is, but now I'm just like, what does it stand for?
It's an advanced information sheet.
Okay. How about TI?
I don't use TI. I think TI is American.
It is mostly an A4 sheet that has all the info about the book that is available at that point, and it will be things from how many pages it is, the title, the blurb, but sometimes it will have a little list of like selling points. It's like this other book and the author does this and this, and so if you want all the info about a book, that is something you can like bring to a meeting when you're pitching a book, or just when you need some information about it.
Yeah, and it's usually information that isn't circulated. So when I was a publicist, I base my press release on an AI, but I wouldn't put everything in it because some of it's like secret or not signed off yet.
You wouldn't phrase it in the way that it's like for internal purposes.
So say if it was like Amanda Palmer, it might be like married to Neil Gaiman. I'm like, well, we don't want to like attribute a woman's success to a man, but it's good info to know in case you try and pitch it to Neil Gaiman and he'll be like, I married her. Oh, Biblio. Biblio is one brand of like internal mechanisms that publishers use to like basically manage and distribute all of their metadata. So metadata might be a word in here, but it just means like information about the book, book information about books.
So like the AI sheet would be in Biblio, so it's like one big database, that you can look up like all the covers, like high-res versions of the covers, or any sort of like, oh, how many editions of this book exist? You could just go into Biblio and look it up. I found it a pain at times to work with, but I also had to learn how to use it when I interned, and then at both of my jobs.
Yeah, and another one's called BookSonics. I've worked a lot with BookSonics. There's lots of other ones, like publishers might build their own internal ones, but Biblio is a common one, and it means that, like, well, not to go too much into it, but like that from Biblio, Onyx feeds are fed out to the rest of the world. So if something isn't on Amazon, it's probably because it's not feeding out from Biblio. So it's like another like cable connecting things, and Amazon's one of the things that Biblio would connect to.
Or if, for example, someone's put a cover into Biblio that wasn't supposed to be on Amazon yet, it might feed through by accident and get out in the world.
That's never happened before.
What?
Imprint. So
I like people are confused, but very often when there's interns, I'm like,
okay,
where are you working?
Yeah.
Like, in publicity. I'm like, no, but where?
Yeah. So to explain this like an onion, the imprint is inside the division, which is inside the publishing house. I work for Penguin Random House. The division I work for is Vintage Books. The imprints I work on are, well, all of them, but lots of people within Vintage will work on specific imprints. Imprints, it's kind of like sad, but historically imprints are there because there used to be publishing houses that have been absorbed by bigger conglomerates because capitalism. That's why there are a lot of imprints, but also imprints do have specific...
They have their own kind of
meanings.
Styles and...
Ideally. One of them might be like strong, serious non-fiction. One of them might be like light. So we have something called Square Peg at Vintage, which are like comedy books, like gift books, things you'd buy at the till.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes I think on the spine you might see something that you don't recognize. When you look inside the book, you're like, oh, I don't recognize that name. Oh, but I recognize the bigger publisher name.
And a lot of the imprints are linked to specific editors as well. So there is a reputation about the people who work on those imprints.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about interning and you're reading up on a company, don't just look at the bigger company, try and figure out which imprints they have and like what they publish. That'd be impressive knowledge.
That would be.
Go in as, This was one that stumped me when I started working in publishing. Copy. Copy means text. I didn't know
You were like, oh, like copying and pasting.
Well, they'd say like, oh, where's the copy? And I was like, oh, is it a copy that I should have made of something?
Yeah.
But a copy means text. So like the copy on the back of the book is the text.
Yeah, which is why some people are called like copywriters. They're not people who copy other people's writing.
I feel like that is one that people wouldn't explain and that you might not know.
P&L. The profit and the loss. Oh, my favourite thing.
So this is also one where we'd sit in a meeting and they'd say P&L and I think I was taking minutes and I think I thought it meant P-N-L.
Okay.
Instead of P-and-L.
P&L.
Because if someone's just saying it out loud...
I think when I heard it, I thought it was the cruise company, P&O. I was like, oh yeah, we're going on a book cruise. I get it. It basically means the balancing, probably usually within like an Excel spreadsheet of like how much has been spent making this book a success and buying the books and the rights to the books and how much did we actually make from the book.
And then I think at the beginning as well, they kind of try and figure out how much they want to pay the author, so they kind of balance out like, well, if we pay the author this much, how many books do we need to sell to earn it out?
Yeah, so that will usually be done before they buy the rights to a book, but then it will change, it'll flux like every month, and they'll have meetings about P&Ls, and it's like riveting but vital.
Blad, B-L-A-D. Do you know what that is?
I don't use that very much.
No,
I've forgotten what that means.
I just remember hearing it once and thinking this is hilarious. So a blad is a type of like printed thing that's almost, it's kind of like a mock-up, but I think it takes different forms, but it might be, it's kind of like a brochure and has like an inside and so it might just have all the information about a book and it's very fancy. It's like a little fancy brochure. I think that is mostly what it is. So like if you're pitching a really big series at a book fair, you might just bring this nice little printed booklet that has like all the covers in it and like that. I'm pretty sure
so
it's
kind of like mini catalogues about specific things.
Yes. But also, I don't think you use that word anywhere else.
I use another word. I don't know what it is because I don't make them. I'm very selective about what I remember because I'm like, that doesn't seem like I'd need to know that. Oh, okay. So, formats of books.
Oh, that's yours. Demi. I do not know them.
Demi, Royal, B format, A format, trade, paperback. These refer to the size of books, basically. That's all it is. So when I was started in publishing and I was more working in sales and like some production then, but I had like it stuck to my wall and it was basically the centimeters of what each like size is. So it's nothing too scary, but like say like a Royal hardback are the fuck off big ones that you can't get on your bookshelf, and sometimes I get complaining tweets from people like, I can't fit this book on my bookshelf, and I'm like, look, I hear you. A B format is your normal books. Some people really like to buy B formats because they're the most common one, and then all their bookshelves match. So if you're into that, go for it. B format is probably what you own. A format is like a kind of like the airplane style one, so they're kind of
like the mass paperback size.
This is a B format book. That's what you'd find in any kind of bookshop. They're very standard. In the US and the UK, they're pretty similar sizes. Sometimes not, but like. And then this would be an A format. They're much more common in America. I call them like airplane books because they're usually literally made and sold only in airports because they're super small. But I also like have crime books and romance books, genre books that you can stick in a stand and spin around until your heart's content.
There's a lot. POS.
Point of sale.
So this is when you print stuff to like put in bookshops, bring to events, like bookmarks, sample chapters, badges, anything you put in goodie bags. POS.
Yeah, and they're usually like audience-facing stuff, but you can have stuff that's just for like booksellers or whatever. Next, proofs or arcs. Proofs are the UK terminology and therefore the correct one. And arcs are like, is an American term and it means advanced reader copies.
And then there's also galley, which they sometimes use in the US.
And then it's kind of bled into the UK because we have like NetGalley. They're basically just advanced copies. They cost publishers quite a lot to print, so publishers, rightfully so, are very hesitant to give them out because they have to do very small print runs of them, so they're very expensive.
Let me see, I think I've got like one or two here.
And they're books that are printed before the whole book is available and sent out to bloggers and vloggers and press and like people who run literary festivals.
And so very often they might not have the title on the front because they've just kind of made a design that's because they don't want it to look exactly the same as this one is fancy because it's got sprayed edges with a little design on it. But yeah, so it's similar to the final book, but the text and the outside not and
you're not technically supposed to sell them in bookshops, so bookshops can't sell them on, and you're also not supposed to quote from them because the editing might change. There might be stuff there.
I think that's probably an author's worst nightmare when people quote
things. Like sometimes mistakes. Don't have legal sign off. They're not.
It's your last one.
Okay.
This is my last one. Okay, that one's really boring.
Draw.
Maybe we'll do that one first.
Okay. RRP, recommended retail price. That is the price that used to be the law that you had to sell books at, and that's why I would make a whole video about this. It's not. Not going to bring you into libelous.
This is the topic.
This is the minimum amount I think you can viably make a book for and pay the author correctly. It used to be the law, but in 1990 they took that away from us.
So in the Netherlands, it's still
the
set book price,
agreement, which is amazing. Yeah. And Germany still have it, but the UK don't, and that is why authors now earn around 10k a year.
Finally, edit versus copy edit.
Yes.
Or should there be edit versus line edit? This is from old notes.
I think copy edit's fine.
Yeah. So edit versus copy edit. Usually when you hand in a manuscript, an editor will take a look at sort of, I guess, the bigger picture and do the characters work? Is the plot running smoothly? Do you need to switch out some things? They might be a bit more specific about writing style as well, but then the copy edit is when the commas get checked and the facts get checked. I think John Green always talks about how like every day would be a Wednesday in his manuscript. It just kept being Wednesday. So that's basically someone going through and really like with a fine, what do you call it? With a fine comb,
tooth comb,
fine tooth.
I don't know why.
With a fine tooth comb. So that's where all the details
continuity errors and line edits. Yeah. Which is why sometimes I think there's this assumption that like people who aren't good at grammar can't be editors, or like people who can't spell can't be editors, and I'm like, not really. I mean, obviously it's ideal if you are, but a lot of commissioning editors might not be that great at grammar.
Cool. Yeah. So also, if you want to be an editor, you have to think about like copy editor or
like what kind of editor
commissioning
do you want
editor.
To be?
Yeah. So those were some phrases. I hope that was helpful. Share a bit of our knowledge. If you have any other ones that you've come across that you found hilarious or complicated, leave them in a comment below. Check out Leena's channel as well. We're filming some videos together, so we'll have something up there. If you have any other publishing videos you'd like me to make, let me know as well.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Thanks for watching. Doei!